Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the book Refuge and welcome to another kind of like quick recommendation video. Hopefully it's quick. It should be. I don't have a ton of recommendations for this topic because I don't always like said character who is this, but these are some that particularly worked for me. So who am I talking about? I'm talking about prickly heroines, or sometimes called like unlikable heroines, or you know, a bitch, whatever we want to say. But recently, and by recently I mean probably the last like 6 months, I've read some really amazing heroines who might be considered prickly or a bitch. And now either, well, and usually what it is that they have a really good reason for being this way. And that just really speaks to me because so many times as women, we judge other women, we judge ourselves, we jump to a conclusion about someone because of the way that they act on a single situation where we run into them, and we assume that they are a bitch because of this or whatever. And that can be just the worst, you know? But who I'm going to share with you today are some heroines that may appear bitchy or stuck up or a mean girl or just plain a little bit crazy, but I absolutely love them and their stories. So this is again going to be kind of like a quicker recommendation. I don't have a ton of these, but I have some that I'm very excited to share, and I'm actually going to start with Nikki Sloan, not a Nikki Sloan, sorry, with a Sophie Lark and the heroine Sloan from Ivan. Now, I wouldn't exactly call her a bitch, I would call her prickly. Prickly as in she will stick you with a needle. She's an assassin. Our heroine Sloan is sent to assassin Ivan, who is the head of the Bratva, and she sneaks into his chambers to tell him good night, sir, and he catches her. And then he locks her in his basement for some pleasurable torture to find out who is trying to kill him. And he ends up wanting to keep her forever. This woman is fierce. She's a little bit crazy. She's a little bit intimidating. But her relationship with Ivan is freaking fire. It's amazing. He calls her his little fox. I love them so much. Like, Ivan and Sloan are like the bedrock of Sophie Lark's writing, okay? It is the couple that she has put her most like heart and soul into. She says they're the most like her and Mr. Lark in the relationship that they have, not the needing to kill them part, but just in how they like relate to each other. But so this is actually the first book in the Underworld series, usually called The Colors of Crime. So you definitely, this can be an entry point into her. It's not super long, and it is amazing. And then the other, maybe we can stack these back here, I have books everywhere. The other Sophie Lark heroine that of course I have to mention when we talk about prickly women is Riona from Broken Vow. This is actually like a grumpy sunshine where she's the grump and he's the sunshine. He is ex-military, and currently he is asked to be a bodyguard for Riona, who is a member of a crime family that's been trying to go legitimate. Like, the oldest son is running for office. She is a lawyer. She handles a lot of the, you know, keeping them out of trouble legally. And there have been some attempts on her life. And so a friend of the family asks Raelynn to make sure that she's safe. So this is a forced proximity. This also is, again, grumpy sunshine, and Riona is very reluctant to accept help, and they're like, you know, it's very clear someone's trying to kill you. Let's let this man do his job. And things get a bit spicy in a barn at one point. I'm just saying. Sophie Lark had merch come out recently, and the piece of merch that I got has Raelynn on it because he's my favorite. So anyway, definitely recommend. This one though is number 5 in the Brutal Birthright series, and I do recommend you read this series in order if you can, just because it will make a lot more sense to you, but still wanted to share this one. we'll just keep with the mafia because I have a couple of those. And we have another badass lawyer woman who you know I have to share. And that's Elena from When Heroes Fall, which is the Anti-Heroes in Love duet by Giana Darling. Yes, it's very shiny, so it's hard to like hold this one where you can see it. Actually, I have a signed one by her. But Elena, she has a cold heart, as we say. I really like what it says on the back of this, that I am the villain of my own story. Jilted by my fiance, a disappointment to my family, haunted by my traumas. I felt so much all my life that now I've resolved to feel nothing. And then she meets Dante Salvatore. I would almost consider this one also a grumpy sunshine, even though Dante, like, I wouldn't consider him full sunshine, but he is unlike any other mafia boss you've ever met. He is so warm and loving, but he is up for a crime. They're catching him on some charges, and Elena is asked by her sister Cosima to defend Dante and make sure that he doesn't go to prison. And this results in he gets out on bail, but he's put under house arrest, and Elena is asked to live in his like condo to make sure that he stays out of trouble and to work on the case against him to stop it. And this is a duet. The second one is called When Villains Rise, and I absolutely love Elena. I love this duet. Look at the chapter pages. It's gorgeous. I mean, I highly recommend. I absolutely adore Giana Darling, and I love this heroine particularly. I would die for her. Elena's amazing. And then another mafia, as I said, is we have Jenn from the Valentini family by Serena Akeroyd. So this is actually book 2. This one is also a duet, but the first one is the Dawn, and I wanted to show the lady. I want to show you Jenn. I love that her name is Jennifer. Our hero calls her Jennifer when they are fucking sometimes, and I love it a lot. But Jenn is actually basically a like high class like hooker or mistress at this point. She is the daughter of I think her mom was a hooker or a prostitute, I don't know. But anyway, she uses her body to make her way through life. And she's caught the eye of a, you know, mafia don, a mob boss, and he really wants her. And she doesn't want to feel the feelings that he's making her feel. He's making her feel too many feelings, and she doesn't like it. But can she really resist him is the question. So Jenn is definitely prickly because she just has had to look out for herself. She is cutting, and she will lash out to protect herself however she can. And so I definitely would say she's not likable a lot of the times. Like, I know some of my friends who read it. She's a tough character to warm up to. And that's the kind of lady that we're recommending today. You know, I gotta share her with you. So I would definitely consider her prickly or unlikable. But her arc in this duet is really amazing. So I love it. Then I have a paranormal recommendation for you, actually, and that is Feral Sins by Suzanne Wright. This book is actually on KU, and the audio is read and listen, so you actually get to listen to the audio for free if you get it on KU. This is the first book in the Phoenix Pack series by her, which there's 8 books, and our heroine is actually an alpha female, but she has a latent shifting ability, which means she can't shift, but her wolf is still like inside her and around. So like she knows that her wolf is there, but is not able to come out. She gets approached by the head of the Phoenix Pack named, what's his name? Her name is Taryn, and his name is, I can't remember it, but he asked her to pretend to be her mate, to save her from having to marry someone that her dad is trying to force her to marry. And he wants to forge an alliance with her dad, so he's like, let's pretend that we're mates for a certain amount of time, and then surprise, they actually are mates. So our heroine, because she's an alpha female, She's not the most likable. She is very fierce and prickly, and it's very interesting because Trey's the heroine's name. He is an alpha of his pack, and so it's very interesting. I've never read a series where there was like alpha females and alpha males, and like, I don't know, it was very interesting. And this led me into an amazing series. I've really enjoyed the Phoenix Pack. I've actually read all of them. I want to read the spin-off books at some point. I'm not there yet, but eventually I will, and I'm very excited to do it. So, yay! Then I do have a historical romance to show you. This was a recent release by Minerva Spencer, and it's actually called Infamous. This is the third book in the Rebels of the Ton. And this one particularly, you don't have to read this in order. This one doesn't really connect with the other two in the series, so you could read this as a standalone. I recently just did a historical romance recommendation video where I talk about this series as a whole, so you can get a better idea if you want to. But the reason I picked this for Prickly Heroines is that our heroine's name is Celia, and she was a mean girl, and she is been dubbed Lady Infamous, and she's fallen on hard times, and she's practically destitute, and she's now a lady's companion. 10 years ago, when she was a diamond of the first water, she was a bitch. She was a mean girl, and she was cruel to people. But there was a lot going on behind the scenes. Now, she's this lady's companion, and she gets invited to a house party as a lady's companion. And it's to the home of some people who she ruined their lives 10 years ago, when she was still in society. And so this is a really, like, this book is amazing to me because it's someone who she's lost everything, but she, you know, she doesn't even have her pride anymore. But she is remorseful for what she did, but at the same time, like, do these people even want to hear that she's sorry after what she did? How can she find redemption? And then we get to learn, like, what made her this way, you know, which to me is always what's amazing about a prickly heroine or an unlikable heroine, is when you find out what brought them here. Why are we here? And that's really what makes these particular books work for me, is what brought us here and what's going on. So I really loved this one. As I say in my historical romance video, this is one of the few series that has an illustrated cover that I love just as much as if it didn't. So I highly recommend you give this book a try. This story is fascinating, in my opinion. And Minerva Spencer writes some good spice in her books too, just so you know. And then the last one I want to talk about, which I saved the best for last, okay? And I'm going to tell you 2 reasons why I think it's the best one that I'm going to mention, even though some of you, as immediately as I hold it up, you're going to be like, meh. 2 reasons. One, this was probably the first one. It's the first one. It's the one I read the earliest this year that really had me keeping an eye open for unlikable women in books. Because here's the thing. As women who read romance, I feel like we give prickly heroes and alpha holes and jerks more leeway than we give women who are like that. That is just my personal feeling on it. You know, and I'm calling out myself too. When a heroine annoys me or is whatever, I'm more likely to roll my eyes and be annoyed because the hero is who I'm lusting after. So I'm more willing to give him the time of day. So this heroine is someone that I was so excited for her book because I knew that the author was going to show me inside her heart and inside her mind and what was making her be this way. Now, some people may disagree and say that the author doesn't answer that promise for them, but for me, this book does. And that's A Quart of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. Nesta Archeron is the heroine who's made me start looking for prickly heroines to love and to not immediately write them off. I hated Nesta as much as anyone the first time I read the Akatar series. I couldn't understand how she could be so heartless and cruel to her youngest sister and to put all of the burden on her. And then as things progressed in that series, I still was like, you need to get on board. Why are you making this difficult for people who are trying to help you? Why can't you just fall in line? The grief and the trauma and the PTSD and the soul searching that happens in this book, it was everything I was hoping for and more. How could someone who is being shown such patience and kindness and love continue to lash out so much? And for a lot of people, that's not going to work. But for me, I connected with Nesta. And not that I see myself as ever having acted the way that she does, but for me, Sarah J. Maas really laid out why she was being like this, and even to an irrational degree. There are some times where Nesta does things that as she's doing them, she wishes she could take them back, but there's something inside her that she can't stop. It's almost out of her control why she's being this way. And I think that this is an amazing look into what makes Nesta that way and how she's working towards healing that. And whether she's successful or not, you can be the judge of it. But this book is fascinating to me for that reason and for its prickly heroine, Nesta. Thank you so much for watching this. I know this was, again, a bit of a quicker one. I hope you'll give some of these prickly ladies a try. Maybe you already love them. I would absolutely love to know who you think is a prickly heroine that you love. Because, as I've said, this is something that's new for me. I would normally have written off ladies like this. They would irritate me. I would be like, oh, that woman's a bitch. But I really am enjoying finding them. So I would love to know your recommendations down below if you have them, so that I could see if I could find some other ladies to love. Thank you so much for watching this video. I put up new videos 3 to 4 times a week. You can check some of those out right now. Also, my socials, my merch, my Discord, my channel memberships are all down below. So check those out if you want to hang out with me more. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.